Part
The
1.
realtor. I couldn't believe it. The record for total sales for a year was within my grasp. I could see it now. All of the members of the realtor board smiling and shaking my hand, cursing me jealously with obscenities while my back was turned. Yep, this realtor was playing with the big boys. Of course, I tirelessly covered a span of 5 counties, and after my third showing of the day, I needed a bit of a break. My latest lead came in last night via voicemail. The location she gave was all the way across 3 of the counties, so I thought a nice, relaxing drive would help restore my energy and renew my focus on the big prize. I put the address in the GPS on my phone and listened to the voicemail again during the long drive. Hello, my name is Catherine Isabel Landon. I would like to sell my home and I hear you are the best man for the job. I'll be home forever, so come by whenever you'd like. The address is 217 Chelmsford Road. Forever? I wondered if it was sarcasm. What did that mean? While I thought that was an odd choice of words, I was quite intrigued by the way she sounded. She spoke with a lower tone than most women, and I found it to be soothing and mysterious. After driving for about an hour, I pulled over and zoomed in on my GPS to get a better look at where the house was. Apparently, the satellite photos hadn't been updated because there was no house at the address she gave in the voicemail. The only thing on the map around that location was woods. I drove further until I noticed a mailbox alongside an old dirt road. It was an old gray, tin-looking thing sitting on a makeshift wood post. There was no flag for outgoing mail, and the letters KIL looked to have been painted in white many years ago. That has to be it, I told myself, not seeing any other signs of life in the area. I drove down the dirt road for another 10 minutes, deeper into the woods. About 5 miles in, I pulled up on a deer just off the side of the road being picked apart by vultures. An ominous sign, I thought, beginning to wonder if it was even worth it to continue my search for the house. Eyes on the prize. That record will be mine. I pumped myself up again. There was no way I was going to let this house slip through my fingers. Through the woods, I started to see a large white house. The dirt road widened and the woods opened around a 2-story farmhouse. Whoa, I muttered, not expecting to see a house this large out in the middle of nowhere. I parked to the side of the house where the dirt road ended and hopped out of the car. Looking around, there were no other vehicles anywhere. I wonder if anyone's home, I said as I walked to the front of the house. The front door loudly creaked as it opened ever so slightly. Are you the realtor? It was the voice from the voicemail. Unmistakable. Low, smooth, and soothing. Yes, ma'am, I am, I said, slipping into my realtor seller persona. She opened the door and waved her hand, inviting me inside. She had long, wild brown hair that hung down to her lower back. I tried to make eye contact, but she kept her head angled just enough that her hair drooped down over her eyes. Her face was pale white, a porcelain-smooth texture. The dress she wore looked like an old relic, very plain and long enough to cover her feet. She had a very nice figure that stole my full attention, as if I had been put in a trance. When she walked away, the trance broke and my focus returned to business. Come in, won't you? Take a look around the house while I put on some tea. Thank you. This is a beautiful home, Mrs. Landon. I strolled around the living room and into a study area. The house had Victorian-style decor and beautiful ornate details. I worked my way back to the kitchen where I saw her standing in front of the stove. It's Ms. Landon, and I have been in this house for generations. You've been in this house for generations? What does that mean? This house has been in my family for generations. I'm terribly sorry. Sometimes I get my words mixed up. My axe is not as sharp as it once was. Ha! You do get your words mixed up. I think you meant to say your mind is not as sharp as it once was. No, I meant what I said. She reached around behind her dress and raised an axe to her nose. Lifting her head up slowly, I could see where her eyes were supposed to be. There were only deep, dark holes. Blood began streaming from the empty sockets, racing down her porcelain cheeks and pouring onto the floor. Her dress became soaked through with blood from underneath, and a brown layer of dirt settled across the now tattered cloth. She started toward me, gliding rather than stepping, like a figure skater moving across the ice. Ms. Landon, what are you doing? I said, slowly backing away. She raised the axe directly above her head and swung straight down. I crossed my arms in front of my face and braced for impact. The blade struck both of my arms at the same time. Luckily, she was right. Her axe wasn't as sharp as it used to be. The blow should have cut through my arms, but instead it was dull enough to deal blunt force. I jumped to my feet and ran for the door, still open from when I came inside. Arms throbbing, I made it to the car and began to drive in reverse down the long dirt road. I kept my eyes forward to see if Ms. Landon was coming after me and noticed the entire house disappeared into thin air as I backed away. I stopped the car. Dumbfounded, I sat for a moment wondering if I was losing my sanity. The throbbing in my arms begged me to flee, but I had to know if what I witnessed was real. Besides, who would believe me? I grabbed my phone and turned the video setting on, ready to record. I put the car in drive and slowly inched back up the dirt road. The house appeared again, and out of thin air, mid-swing, so did Ms. Landon. Crack! She brought the axe down directly into the hood of my car just before I could put it in reverse. That was proof enough that my sanity was still intact. Startled, I dropped my phone before recording any of this wild paranormal activity. This time, I floored the gas pedal and drove in reverse for a couple of miles before turning the car around and speeding back to the main road. After driving nonstop back to the realty office, I stepped out of the car. The axe was still buried deep in the hood of my vehicle. My coworkers noticed it and immediately came outside. Don't worry, guys, the record for sales in a year is safe. I'm done selling houses for a while.